Aloha guys, Dr. Tom is coming back once again. We finished talking about enemas, not my favorite topic, but something that's good for your health occasionally, I think. Okay, what we've talked about is the gastrointestinal tract so far of the digestive system. It's a continuous tube from the mouth to the anus. But in addition to the GI tract, as it's often called, there are a number of accessory organs that play an important role in digestion. Here they are now. One of them is of the liver. Liver is the largest gland in the body, largest internal organ of the body, composed of two main lobes separated by a ligament. Right here. Liver is surrounded by a capsule. Liver has over 400 functions. It plays a big role in digestion. Behind the liver, under the liver, here's the gallbladder. This is the first part of the small intestine, the duodenum, I'm sorry. Here's the pancreas. Here's the stomach. Most of the pancreas is posterior to the stomach, so it can't be easily seen just from a front view. The gallbladder, pear-shaped sac attached on the side of the liver. Bile flows through the hepatic duct. CCK, cholecystokinin, causes the gallbladder to contract. All right, guys, remember this. The liver makes bile, but the gallbladder stores and concentrates it and releases it. Bile is used to digest fats. It breaks them up, it emulsifies them into little globules and surrounds them where they can be absorbed by water. Okay? The pancreas plays a huge role in, well, let's see. One thing, it's the only gland in the body that's an exocrine and endocrine gland. The exocrine is it makes the majority of the digestive enzymes and empties them into the small intestine. Okay, the hepatic portal system, this is real important. After we've gone through this complex process, we've digested our food, and it's been absorbed in the small intestine, it's ferried or routed by the hepatic portal system straight to the liver for processing. In other words, this nutrient-enriched blood doesn't circulate through the whole body. It's got a shortcut, sends it right up to the liver, and that shortcut is called the hepatic portal system. Blood-rich and digestive products flows from the portal vein to the liver. Blood leaves the liver through the hepatic veins, enters and this is after it's gone through the liver, inferior vena cava. Okay, so it routes it straight there for processing. Why? Because ultimately the liver has to process these end products of digestion. Liver functions: synthesizes bile salts, secretion of bile, synthesis of plasma proteins like albumin, storage of glucose, fat-soluble vitamins, which are A, D, E, and K. See, you didn't think I'd remember that. Detoxification, main organ for drug detoxification. That's why drug addicts and alcoholics sometimes have liver failure. It just wears it out, man. Excretion of bilirubin, cholesterol, drugs. Metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, 3 kinds of food. Phagocytosis, the Kupffer cells, and macrophages. Monocytes circulate in the blood, but a lot of these phagocytic, highly specialized leukocytes are stationary in certain areas of the body. The gallbladder, we've already said what it does. Pear-shaped sac on the side of the liver. It's usually depicted in green. Attached to the common bile duct by the cystic duct. Fat in the duodenum. So when you've eaten a diet, it's got fat in it. Fat is detected in the duodenum, and it stimulates the release of this hormone, CCK, cholecystokinin, which in turn causes the gallbladder to contract and squirt bile into the duodenum to help start digesting that fat, break it up. Okay? Liver lobules and bile, let's see. Formed from blood in the liver lobules, assist in digestion and stored in the gallbladder. Let's talk about bile. Bile is made of water, cholesterol, bile pigments, salt. Where do the bile pigments come from? Remember, guys, when we break down and recycle red blood cells. It's all very clever, very clever. Again, the hepatic cells of the liver have over 400 functions. Bile is real important, but there's a lot of people that have had their gallbladder removed for different reasons. And the people I've talked to said it doesn't bother them, but you have to be careful what you eat. And if you eat a diet with quite a bit of fat in it, you better be right next to the bathroom when you eat, or you're going to have a mess because you can barely make it to the bathroom. That's what I've been told. Okay, biliary tree. Ducts connect the liver, the gallbladder, pancreas through the duodenum. Hepatic ducts come from the liver. Cystic duct comes from the gallbladder. They combine together in what's called the common bile duct. At the ampulla of Vater and the sphincter of Oddi. Sounds like something out of Star Wars, but it's not. So each one of these, and then eventually they come into a common duct right here and empty into the duodenum. Pancreas, we said, is both an exocrine and endocrine gland. Located just below the stomach. Let's see, it's actually behind. Secretes endocrine, let's see, exocrine amylase for carbohydrates, lipase for fats, protease for proteins. Endocrine, of course, insulin, glucagon. In addition to the digestive enzymes, the pancreas also secretes an alkaline juice rich in bicarbonate. Neutralizes the highly acidic chyme coming from the stomach into the duodenum. Path of pancreatic digestive enzymes. Pancreatic acinar cells, that's where they're produced. They go to the main pancreatic duct, base of the common bile duct, and into the duodenum. Again, the pancreas makes most of the digestive hormones. Clinical conditions, gallstones. You can get gallstones like you can get kidney stones. Bleeding, loss of clotting factors, liver failure, absorption, vitamin K. Esophageal varices, you get varicose veins of the esophagus, guys. Who do you see it in? Middle-aged men who are heavy drinkers, heavy boozers. Alcohol's bad news, guys. A little of it's okay, it's good. Too much of it causes all kinds of problems. And it can be fatal. Ascites means excess fluid accumulation in the abdominal region. More than just a pot gut or a beer gut. Let's see. What causes fluid to leak in peritoneal cavity. Paracentesis. They have to draw it out with a needle. Here it is. And you actually can press. You'll have a wave motion going back and forth. Different things can cause ascites. Okay, there's three kinds of food: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates are all sugars, basically. But if they're in long chains, like in a potato or rice, they're starches or polysaccharides, many glucose molecules, blood sugar linked together. If they're little simple sugars, like sucrose, for example, is what we call common table sugar. Lactose is the sugar in milk. These are disaccharides, they're double sugars. And then we have simple sugars. Glucose, of course, is the best known. Also fructose, which is in fruit. So monosaccharides is a simple sugar. Again, glucose is the best known example, the most important. Disaccharides are double, and then polysaccharides are long chains. They're also known as starches, digested by amylases into disaccharides, and then disaccharides are broken down into monosaccharides. Ultimately, a lot of it ends up as glucose because that fuels a great deal of the body. Yes. Absorption. Gastric hydrochloric acid unravels strands of proteins. Remember, protein digestion begins in the stomach. Proteases. ASE means enzyme. Digest protein and amino acids, which are absorbed across the intestinal villi into the blood capillaries. Common proteases, or protein enzymes, here they break them down to amino acids, are pepsin, stomach trypsin, chymotrypsin, which is from the pancreas, most important one. Enterokinase is found in the duodenum. So these other areas also produce a number of things too, guys. It's not all for the pancreas, but the bulk of it is. Okay, fats are digested differently. Fats are insoluble in water. That's why oil and water don't mix. Bile salts prevent the fatty acids from forming large fat globules. Emulsification. Bile splits big fat globules into small ones. That's what detergents and soap do also, guys. Bile salts make fat water soluble where it can be absorbed. Lipases also. Lipid, of course, is fat. ASE is an enzyme, so that name is self-explanatory. Digestion is accompanied by lipases. End products are fatty acids, glycerol absorbed by the lacteals. Remember, the lacteals are the lymphatic system vessels right there in the small intestine. So in other words, fats, once they're broken down, go directly into the lymphatic system. They're a bit unique in that regard. Digestion, absorption, trace the flow of the mouth, food from the mouth to the anus. Well, here's the mouth, down the esophagus, the stomach, the duodenum, the small intestine, the colon, down to the rectum and out the anus. Here are the lacteals where things are absorbed. Nutrition. 5 categories of nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, we already mentioned those, or fats, and also vitamins and minerals. Carbohydrates, simple sugars, monosaccharides, disaccharides, we already mentioned this, polysaccharides. Most carbohydrate consumption should be in this form. Why it's healthier for you guys. Eating too much carbohydrate is not good for the health, and it's a leading killer in my opinion, but you still got to have some. Okay, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. The essential amino acids must be obtained through the diet. Non-essential means if you got the essential ones, you can make these. A complete protein has all the essential ones, and incomplete doesn't have all the essential ones. So, it's very simple. The essential ones must come from the diet. If you have them, then the liver can make the non-essential ones. Complete protein has all the essential, incomplete does not. Fats, saturated fatty acids stored at room temperature, or solid at room temperature. A saturated is like butter, guys. Butter's healthy, by the way. Margarine is junk. Don't touch it. I'm serious. Avoid it. Unsaturated fatty acids are oils at room temperature, like canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil. Essential fatty acids, like there's essential amino acids that must be obtained from the diet, there are essential fatty acids that must be obtained from the diet too. Linoleic is a big one. If you got it, but if you have the essential, you can make some of the other ones as well. There are a lot more different amino acids than there are fatty acids, but vitamins, small organic molecules that help regulate cell metabolism. The fat-soluble ones are A, D, E, and K. The water-soluble are all the rest, which basically are the B vitamins, which makes up a pretty broad category, guys, and vitamin C. These are not stored in the body, so they have to be obtained in food. A, D, E, and K also is obtained from food, but they can be stored so you can build up a surplus of them. Vitamin D is particularly important, guys. You know, we form it in the skin with the oil and sunlight. And it's extremely important. I actually go so far to say that most every doctor in the United States should have their patients on vitamin D3. It's very inexpensive, it's safe, and a huge number of people are lacking in it, and it's linked to cancers and all kinds of stuff if you have a deficiency. Minerals. Inorganic substances needed for normal body function. Sodium chloride, very, very important. Electrolytes, potassium is too. Calcium, phosphorus, magnesium. Can't have muscle contraction without calcium. Iron, very important for anemia. It's a part of the heme molecule. Iodine, necessary for the synthesis of T3 and T4. Trace elements, there's a lot of them like manganese and others that are essential for health, but only in tiny amounts. Balanced diet, represented by the food pyramid, contains all the essential nutrients, contains a variety of food. Poorly balanced diet high in cholesterol, fat, or both, has been implicated in coronary artery disease, stroke, diabetes, cancer, absolutely. Diet and lifestyle is the key to health, guys, period. Now, mental outlook and attitude plays an important role. Genetics play a role, obviously. But I've been in this field a long time. I've studied natural health a long time, over 50 years now. Diet and lifestyle, never, ever, ever underestimate the power of them. Kwashiorkor, severe muscle state. When you see these little kids like in Africa and stuff, guys, that are skeletons, but they got big bulging bellies, that's due to a severe protein shortage called kwashiorkor. There's also a similar disease called marasmus. Appetite controls, controlled by the hypothalamus. The feeding center. Damaged feeding center leads to anorexia and starvation. satiety center.